This is the Why I Hate and Love Pickleball podcast. I'm Bill Wong. I've been unable to record my podcast for the past couple of weeks. I took a position as a pickleball instructor for a premier fitness club, thus I've been too busy. Last week I was in Chicago visiting some family and recounted my difficult experiences in the Windy City in a prior podcast. Today, I'm going to talk about some of the commonalities I see in teaching pickleball because I've never taught at a club before. Some of the patterns, both negative and positive, in other words, what I hate and love. Also, I'm certified in CPR and I took a class for the Pickleball Professional Registry. First, some of the commonalities. Pickleball is easy to learn and it's fun, but difficult to master. Players have the same challenges of mobility, stability, strength, repeatable strokes, and decision making. I've concluded that I'm not only teaching pickleball, but rather building confidence, assisting in actualization, and providing support, and building a community. For research for my novel, I heard from two fighter pilots who graduated from the WIC, the War Institute, which is the Air Force equivalent of the Navy's Top Gun. They described it as a leadership course disguised as a flying school. I'm doing the same in pickleball. Here are a couple of examples of situations that I hate. A boyfriend of a young lady who took an intro class wanted to take every single ball. He did not feel confident in her ability. When she called him out, he stormed off the court and left her sitting there on the sidelines, alone, and then she started to cry. She said, "He is always so hard on me." In another situation, a woman who struggled with her serve and felt terrible after missing many of her serves kept muttering, "Terrible, terrible." After the lesson, she recounted a story where she was asked to leave a public pickleball court because she was not good enough. When I played with her in a game, she got 2 serves in, and that helped us to win because I can't win without a partner, and she was happy. Some of the things that I love, I had 3 men who were in the same company who wanted to learn about how to score properly in pickleball. They acted like they were really good friends, even though one of the men was their boss. I wanted to ask how he formed such a tight, collegial relationship with his employees, but I held my tongue and I didn't ask. I saw athletic abilities in all 3 of the men. They enjoyed the competition, experimented with shots, and most of all, they were having fun. And I loved it. I loved teaching a class where they were enjoying themselves, they were trying things. They cared about winning, but they didn't really care about winning. In another situation, a young lady thanked me after my class. When I tried to high-five her after she was able to finally serve, she didn't know what to do because she said that she's never been given support and her father never give her a high five. She mentioned to me how much the class meant to her and how happy it made her feel. And she actually took the class more than once. And in one of the latter classes, she was answering questions and she was trying to help other students. Finally, I had 2 students in class and I needed another to make a foursome. I went into the training room and found a personal trainer who was working on some admin work. And I asked her if she can help me. She had never played pickleball before. And when I asked her, she said, "Sure, I'll try." And she jumped right in without any forewarning, never played before, and she had a great attitude. I love that. I love the fact that someone's willing to try, even though they never played before. She didn't care how it looked, and she just wanted to help me. That made me so happy. A couple of things that I had to do, which took up some time, was I am now certified in CPR. It was a combination of online videos and tests and a 1.5-hour live class to demonstrate my proficiency with adult and childlike dummies. The online class was actually brutal. It kept going and going. while the in-person one was not unreasonable. Last time I took CPR was about 4 or 5 years ago, and they increased the detail by incorporating bleeding and new issues such as overdosing and signs of strokes and heart attacks. Perhaps the difficulty of the online part made the in-person part much easier in comparison, and I breezed through the in-person live testing. Finally, I am now certified, or I took the test and passed it, both the in-person and the final exam for the PPR, which is the Pickleball Professional Registry. It was only offered 5 or 6 times a year in our location, and I found out just about a week ago that I was required to get certification. I was able to get one of the last classes in the year, and I enrolled. The class is a combination of online videos, having to study a 2-sided 50-page handbook, some online videos, and a 5-hour in-person class. A friend of mine last year took the same certification, and he said it was really boring and he learned nothing. I had a little bit of a bad attitude going into the class. However, I found it to be very informative and I enjoyed it. I have never taught beginner individuals. I've always taught high-level people, not only collegiate tennis players, high-level pickleball players. There was a hole in my training. They talked about how to teach individuals from the basic, to talk about the whole stroke, then break the stroke down, to use what they call ball to ball, which is someone throwing a ball to an individual, them catching the ball, then paddled the ball. It added an extra tool to my toolbox where I can teach lower level individuals, break down a stroke so that they can understand the technique before we move on to the skill with the paddle. I'm very analytical and precise. I understand the mechanics to help me perform a skill. I've delved into the nuances of technique and form, but I needed a medium or forum to help deliver this information. Help me. Furthermore, I peppered the instructor for some lessons learned that he's seen of his years of being an instructor. The 5 hours passed very quickly and I learned the techniques for teaching beginners and how to utilize more than 2 students at a time. I took the final exam and scored a 92, but I wish the exam asked more relevant questions about pickleball diagnostics and solutions. As an aside, I treasure the camaraderie and the friendships I've formed over the last few weeks. Perhaps I've matured and grown and become more comfortable in my skin, but I believe that riding has helped me a great deal. I've learned to listen better, understand myself, and I'm better at presenting myself. One of the personal trainers has encouraged me to hold the door for my wife, and another one on National Cheeseburger Day, when I walked into the break room with 2 Burger King cheeseburgers, he says, "I don't like that." I've decided, based on those comments, 1, to hold the door for my wife and to stop eating all fast foods and significantly reduce my intake of carbs. I appreciate the encouragements and the nudging toward better behaviors. Thank you very much, guys. As a last bit of news, I was asked to play in a mixed doubles tournament in November. One of my friend's wives asked me, and I responded like most men when a woman asked us for something. I said, "Sure, I'll have to think about it." Immediately, I called my friend, who's the spouse of the person who asked me to play, to see if it was okay. I understand it is difficult to play pickleball with someone you have a relationship with. The personal familiarity gets mixed in with the professionalism in playing the sport. On the continuum of playing with a stranger to a significant other and a family member, in general, it's easier to play with someone who you know well, but not too well. In other words, a friend. Because you know that person, you can be honest, but not too honest where you're hurtful. I've upped my physical training and ball hitting to include hitting on a ball machine and more live balls. I'm going to cut up my carbs and I'm probably going to lose some weight. And one of the issues I've had is that I'm not hitting enough live balls. I've been teaching more, so I'm going to try to focus on attacking balls and being more aggressive. As a preview for some upcoming podcasts, Dr. Korn has reached out to me and would like to do my podcast. He's a sports psychologist to some pickleball pros such as Megan Fudge and Zane Navratil. In addition, Rosie Brooks, who is an Emmy-winning broadcaster specializing in mind and strength improvement, has also agreed to do my podcast. I've never taken a yoga or a Pilates class. It'll be interesting if she breaks me in half and hurts me. I'm willing to try, and I will let you know how that goes. I'm very excited to have both of these individuals on my podcast. This is the Why I Hate and Love Pickleball podcast. I'm Bill Wong. I'll see you on the court.